Cocoa to chocolate. Growing and harvesting. Chocolate begins with cocoa beans that grow in pots on trees that founded in tropical heat of the equatorial forest. It takes around 5 to 6 months until a cocoa pod is fully grown and ready to be harvested. Fermenting and drying. Once extracted from the cocoa pods, the beans are covered for 5 to 7 days to ferment. After fermentation, the cocoa beans are left to dry in sun for about 6 days. Collection and shipping. At collection centers, the dried beans are then weighed and checked for quality before being packed in jute bags and transported to cocoa factory for the next process of cocoa. From bean to cocoa liquor. In the cocoa factory, the beans are sorted, cleaned, dried, and broken into nibs. The nibs are then roasted and ground into a very fine liquid mass. The cocoa liquor can be further processed into cocoa butter and cocoa powder. From cocoa to chocolate.
First, the cocoa bean that has been harvested from the cocoa farm is brought to the factory to undergo for a further process. The cocoa bean is peeled into a tray collection for a cleanup. A conveyor belt moves them to a cleaning system, which is a cage filled with a cleaning agent who lick the beans clean of any dirt and debris. Next stop is a micronus, which heats the cocoa beans and spins them at a constant rotation, separating them from their families. Then they enter a shell removing machine called a winnower inside the beans. Then a vacuum is applied to the beans, resulting in the two most popular forms of chocolate, which is a hard chocolate and a not so hard chocolate. This solution is later added to the final product for flavoring. After that, an employee then activates a grinding machine with a constant heat and pressure, creating a chocolate soup mixture, called in the industry as a chocolate soup mixture. A flour is added to the process. The factory extracts some of the cocoa butter from the mixture and immediately puts in the sewer. During this allows the chocolate to pass through mixture and refiners to give it a sufficient texture. Now, the chocolate is very in a delicate state to which even the smallest disturbance can ruin the batch. The employee is very careful so that the chocolate is very in a good shape. At this stage, the roasted nibs are ground into the stone mills until the friction and heat of the milling reduce them to a thick chocolate color liquid known as a mass. It turns the chocolate bean into a liquid state. It contains 53 to 58% cocoa butter and solidifies on cooling. This is the basis of all chocolate and cocoa products. Then the chocolate goes into the big machine to make the shape of the chocolate to be sold into the market. The chocolate chips are jostled over on the large plate to prevent them from falling and creating their rich and stressed out flavor. The finished chocolate chips are cooled until about 15 minutes inside the cooling tanks. The chocolate chips is done and ready to be packed. Lastly, the chocolate chip is transferred on the conveying belt for the packaging.